Well, thank you, Bert. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
If I go back to when I was 17 years old,
Mm-hmm.
I had two brothers serving in the United States Army, active duty,
Okay.
two older brothers. And I had always had a fancy to go in the Navy myself. However, at 17, I went to a recruiter, Navy recruiter, and I told him I had plans to be an aviator. I wanted to fly jets.
Oh.
Of course, we had a good chuckle because I was only 17 years old.
Uh-huh.
And I said, but I'm going to college. He says, all right, you go to college, get your degree, and then come back and then we'll see it. And this was 1965. So Vietnam was just starting to mushroom out. And I guess I got away with murder then because I wasn't selected to go.
Yeah.
So fast forward, I went to college. I met a woman. I got married, had a kid, got a job. So that was the end of my military career to that point.
Yeah,
10 years later, I'm working at school, and I meet a gentleman that I know. He's in another
Oh,
department.
10 years later.
10 years later.
Wow.
So now I'm almost 30, and a friend of mine says that he's in the Navy, and I said, now, how could you be in the Navy? You work with me every day, you know. He says, yeah, I'm in the Navy Reserve. His name is Bill Lapone. Patty Lapone, the actress's brother, who worked with me.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I said, wonderful. I says, tell me more about this reserve program. And we talked about it, you know, annual training, weekend warriors. Hey, that sounds interesting. And I get a chance to be in the Navy, what I always wanted to do. He says, yeah, uniforms, yeah. So at that point,
What kind of job did you have then? What were you working?
I was working in a school system. I was an industrial arts teacher.
Oh, okay.
So, and I worked in, you know, wood shop, metal shop, print shop, you know, all the different automotive shop. I said, wow, I get a chance to do that. He said, oh, but now I got to leave. I says, we worry about security, job security. I have a family. And so I went and talked to a recruiter, got all the gist of what was going on. I said, yeah, you can come right in. We have a program for you. Oh. I says, what's available? And since I already had a master's degree at that time,
Wow.
he said, well, we have some officer programs, but for what you are, you know, your background, the only thing I think it was open was chaplains. Navy Reserve didn't have openings for somebody with my background. He said, but we have an APG program, Advanced Pay Grade program. The Navy was looking for middle petty officers because they're a maintenance program or to fill the need. APG, what does that mean? You know, how does that work? So advanced pay grade, the Navy says, okay, based on your civilian experience, and I had 10 years of teaching experience, and I had, you know, my degrees and stuff like that. And I said, we could make you, I'll give you some choices, you know, machine repairman, a draftsman, a pattern maker, carpenters, well, they didn't have carpenters to make, but they had a hull technician, and then there was one other one, I can't remember. I said, what, I can't be a CB? I wanted to be a CB, you know, construction. No, not available. Okay, all right. So then we talked about, machinist mate was the other one. I said, how about this hull technician? He says, yeah, they do woodworking, they do metalworking, pipe fitting, sheet metal. Oh, I do sheet metal at my shop. So that was my choice, hull technician, HT.
Okay, HT.
There were some other functions of an HT which were not as pleasant, which a lot of sailors,
Clean out the bilge or whatever.
well, CHT, all right, which is we're the turd chasers. Whenever there's a problem with the shitters, we're the turd chasers.
You gotcha,
Anyway,
sure.
So HTs.
Uh-huh.
So I signed on, I enlisted on January 29th of 1980. And I started drilling, actually that month, I think that first weekend I enlisted, I was drilling. And there was a reserve, there was a retirement ceremony that same weekend. And
So you were signing on for the reserves, though, not the active? Yeah,
that's
okay.
correct.
Yeah, okay.
That's correct.
Right.
So my first weekend on board, and I'm standing in the rear ranks, and we're all at muster, and there's a retirement ceremony going on for a chief, who was retiring out. And all I remember was, here's this short chief in service dress blue, and all I remember was gold braid all the way up his arm, and of course his crow.
Yeah.
And by the end of that ceremony, everybody was crying, even the chief. I'm thinking, wow, that was so impressive. And that stuck in my mind for many years, and I'll tell you why later on. It was in Huntington, New York, which was the Navy and Marine Corps Reserve Center in Huntington, New York. Because of my teaching background, I was assigned to be an instructor. So we used to run training evolutions for all the sailors, or by unit. For me, since I was at HT, we did damage control and 3M, which was...
What was your actual rank, E, what at that time?
Okay.
You came in with an
the
advanced-
APG program allowed me to be designated as a second-class petty officer. So that's an E5.
Oh, okay, so you came in as an E5.
I came as an E5 with the provision that I complete some basic training prior to being permanent. If
Gotcha.
you do all your requirements, and then your rate will be permanent. Otherwise, you'd be reverted back to
Sure.
fireman.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There was a 2-week, 15-day orientation period I went through, and the previous group went to New Orleans, and I was anxious to go to New Orleans, but my group was selected to go to Camp Smith, New York,
Oh,
which was in Peekskill. So it was summertime, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, but just not far from home, right?
No, not too far from home. I drove up. So, and during that time period, you know, we basically got our basic. They treated us somewhat like other service vets. So you had some knowledge of military, maybe not a lot. In this case here, my thing was marching, cadence. Then we did some firefight training. We did some weapons training to familiarize us with that aspect of military service. Slept in a barracks, open barracks, bunk beds, the whole bit. So it was quite an interesting experience being with 60 guys in a bunk with, you know, I mean, I was in the Boy Scouts for a short period of time, but this is nothing like
Yeah,
that.
I know.
Nothing like that. We had guys from upstate New York, from Pennsylvania, from all around the region, all regional guys, all reserve type.
Right. Gotcha.
So that was my indoctrination school.